I am a fan of Chuck E. Cheese, and I've been going there since I was 4 years old. I get all filled with joy when I see my parents driving our car to Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Theater. I go there mostly for the games and pizza, but I also love Chuck E. Cheese, who is the mascot of the restaurant. He is a tall, furry mouse/rat. My family has been going there since it first opened in 1977, and I was 4 when it first opened. Back then, I was creeped out of the Chuck E. Cheese robot that always stood at the back of the place. It was right in the wall by the area where the birthday parties are held, and it is turned on throughout the whole day that the place is open. It moved to the songs that are played back there. Also, whenever someone has a birthday party held there is someone dressed in a Chuck E. Cheese costume that dances with the kids, and a song is played in the speakers. After the dance with Chucky, there would be a ticket confetti thrown by Chucky himself for the kids to have free tickets. Throughout the years, there have been a couple of weird occurrences that happened in the Chuck E. Cheese that I have attended my whole life. For example, there was a complete blackout and complete silence for like 5 minutes. When the lights finally turned back on, everything went back to normal as if nothing happened. It was pretty scary. It was as dark as my room at night when I go to sleep. And the fact that it was totally silent for the entire time made it even more creepy for me. Another weird occurrence that happened was the Chuck E. Cheese robot completely stopped, and it just looked at me. It kept staring right at me, but its eyes did not follow me when I moved around. I moved away from its crosshairs, and it did not follow me. So it wasn't as creepy, but still pretty creepy. There was another occurrence that wasn't quite right, and what happened was Chucky just fell down and hit his head while doing the free tickets dance. All the dancing just completely stopped. All the kids next to me who were just dancing 3 seconds ago just stood there completely still with their mouths open. Chucky got back up and walked it like a zombie around in circles while taking bold looks at the kids. He was just circling around the place where he was dancing and walking the same way that a drunk person would walk. It was clear that he had probably had some sort of brain damage. Even as an 8-year-old, I knew that it had to be some sort of brain damage. An ambulance was called in, and the ambulance people said that he had brain trauma, but I learned later that he survived. Chucky came back about a week or 2 later. That isn't all the strange happenings that I have witnessed, but that is some of them. I won't put all of them in because that would make my story very long, and it wouldn't be worth it. My parents watch me when I am dancing with Chucky for free tickets, but they barely even watch me when I go play on the arcade games. And now, they know well that they are going to supervise me a lot more often now because of what happens that fateful day. I have had nightmares for the whole month. On my 10th and most likely last birthday at Chuck E. Cheese, my parents took me to Chuck E. Cheese, where since I finally turned double digits, they would make this a very special day for me. How would it be special, you ask? They will let me stay in the Chuck E. Cheese for 6 hours. We normally stay there for only 1 or 2 hours. I decided to run around and play in every single arcade game. My parents had given me several hundred tokens, so I have more than enough to enjoy my birthday there. I really love playing at the section of the place where you put in a token. It'll give you a supply of heavy balls that weigh around 1 or 2 pounds, and you have to roll them up a ramp and try to land the balls into the holes that have numbers 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, and so on. The game was called Skee Ball. Those numbers are the amount of points you get when you land the balls in those pits. I went there as I do every single time I come here. I had gotten at least 30,000 points from this play, which was a lot more points than usual. There was a guy who was watching me the whole time. He congratulated me for getting the highest score anybody has ever gotten in the history of this restaurant, and I thanked him. He told me that I deserved a prize, and he pulled out something from his bag, and it appeared to be a black rectangular brick. But then I realized right away that it was a VHS tape. It was weird because nobody has ever given me a VHS tape at Chuck E. Cheese before. I looked at the label of it, and it said, "Evidence. Do not tamper." I guess the guy who gave it to me was a police officer. So I asked him if he was, and he said no. He told me he was the janitor there and told me to tell my parents to give it to the police. I asked him what was in the tape, and he said, "Something terrible happened here that I saw, and the police needs to know about this. Please, give this to the cops." Why would he give this as a prize? This was definitely not a prize. I got pretty curious about what was in the tape, but I decided to do what the guy told me. And so I ran to my parents to give them the tape to them and told them to give it to the police. They told me when we leave, they will. When I gave it to my parents, the pizza was already here. I didn't recognize the pizza, so I asked my parents what pizza was this, and they told me it was the new pizza. It was called Chucky's Special. I then remembered seeing that commercial on TV that showed Chucky talking about making Chuck E. Cheese's better than ever. Brand new pizza was added on the menu. It had lots of sauces and a lot of cheese. I then looked at the pizza and took a piece so I can try it. It was the best pizza that I've ever tasted. It was a lot better than a regular cheese pizza. As I was eating the pizza, I had something very hard and slimy in my mouth. I pulled it out of my mouth, and it looked like part of someone's finger. I asked my mom what it was, and she took it out of my hands and screamed, "What the hell is this?" She called over an employee and asked him about it. He looked at it and was completely horrified. "What the hell? I actually don't know how it got into the pizza," he yelled. He went to tell the manager, and a manager picked up the red telephone that was in his desk, and then he stuck his fingers into the number holes of the telephone. He dialed the police, and the police investigated the restaurant. But before they did, I reminded my mom to give him the VHS tape, and she did. The police officer that my mom gave the tape to thanked us and asked us if we know what happened. I told him that someone's finger was on my pizza. I could tell he was absolutely disgusted since his face went pale. He was writing down everything that me and my parents were telling him. We were ordered to evacuate the restaurant so the police could investigate, and they closed down the restaurant and made sure that no one can come in. We went home and turned on our TV, which we had gotten a few months before that day, and saw on the news that 2 bodies of young children were found in Chuck E. Cheese, which was, of course, the same Chuck E. Cheese that we just went for my birthday. The news also mentioned a VHS tape that had been reviewed by the police, and what was in the tape was Chucky giving some pizza and soda to 2 little girls who were around 8 or 9 years old. Then later in the tape, it showed the 2 kids pass out on the spot. Chucky came back with a butcher knife and chopped both of the bodies with it into small pieces of flesh. The camera pointed to the kitchen where Chucky was mixing the body parts into the pizza that he was cooking in the oven and was smiling at the camera. He said, "This will make the pizza better than it ever has been in the whole world." That was pretty much what was in the tape. Pretty horrifying. Chucky was arrested and brought to a mental hospital. He was questioned about the murders, and he said that he just wanted to make the pizza better. He started crying, saying, "I'm not a bad mouse," repeatedly, even on the way to court. That Chuck E. Cheese pizzeria was shut down permanently and has never reopened. Several years later. It is now 2018, and I am the same person who experienced and wrote down that event above. I am quite injured, and I am lying down in the middle of the kitchen table. I have no idea what's happening now, but the last thing I remembered is going to my son's birthday party in a Chuck E. Cheese. I saw my son pass out, and everyone around me was passing out too. Well, the very last thing I remember was Chucky smashing everybody who was still conscious with a baseball bat. I see Chucky right next to me with the bloody butcher knife, and is smiling at me. He said, Welcome to my kitchen. And he went back to the sink and is sharpening his butcher knife. If I get out of this alive, I will update this. I see him holding his butcher knife a few inches above me. It is lifting up to the ceiling and is falling towards... Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my narration. And if you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more videos from me, and tap the notifications bell that is right next to the subscribe button to be notified of every new video that I post. Good night, and peace out.